Hello friends, and welcome to another custom action figure video. This one has been highly requested. And not that I take requests, I do this, on my own just to hit that dopamine whenever I get the chance to. But since I made my custom turtles, people have been asking me left and right, are you gonna make April? Are you gonna make Casey? Are you gonna make Shredder? Are you gonna make Splinter? And for the most part, it's been the plan to make all of those characters. It just kind of depends on like when I have the time, when I have the inspiration, when I have the idea on what parts I'm going to use. And lately, in my day job as a comic book artist, I'm always strapped for time. So sometimes it's like, what can I do that's going to be an easier go of it and not like a full from the ground up build like these turtles were. And Casey and April were a perfect opportunity for that. So I made Casey months ago. I just haven't shared a video of it yet because I wanted to get April done first and do them together in one. And that is this video. So here they are displayed on the shelf where they're gonna live in the sort of overall diorama with the turtle van that I made. And there's a 2-part video on that. You can check it on the channel. There's a video on this shredder, on all the turtles. So if you're new to the channel, if you haven't seen these, all this stuff has been documented on the channel. Now these are very much my take on these characters. So they're probably gonna look different than how you want them to look, or different than how you picture them, or different than how you're used to them looking. But just remember, these are mine for my shelf, and this is how I want them to look. And this is very much the final image I had in my head, and I'm really excited to have them out like physically in the world now on my shelf. So first up, let's take a look at Casey. He is on a Noda body. The head, as many of you have probably guessed, is a repainted Brandon Lee head from the Mezco The Crow release. I actually picked up a loose head so that I could repaint it because I didn't want to use any of the ones that came with my figure of the Crow, because it's one of my favorite figures probably of all time, and I think it's the best thing Mezco's ever made in terms of an overall package. And I was looking for like, what character could I use, what existing head sculpt could I use to make a Casey Jones that isn't like the NECA head, the Elias Koteas head. I wanted to do my own thing. And he had the right hair and the right look, and because we're so used to him in the Crow makeup, I was like, this is kind of perfect. So, when I paint him to look like a real person, it's not going to be as jarring. And also I think that Brandon Lee would have been an incredible Casey Jones if he had been cast in that role back in the day. So yeah, this worked out really well. The sweatpants that he's wearing actually came with this Noda body. At some point when purchasing them, they actually came with like little sweatsuits. So that's what this is from. The denim jacket is one I actually got on GPS lot on eBay that I was going to use for my Ryan Gosling Drive figure. I had it layered under his white scorpion jacket like he does in the movie, but it just bulked him out too much, so I had to get rid of it. So I held on to it for a rainy day, and this was the perfect thing for it. Now, as far as the accessories, I made the straps for him. So the sort of shoulder pad on his left shoulder is from a Mezco Ragnarok Thor figure. And then I used some brown ribbon material that I like to use for nylon straps to secure it to him and give it that kind of like old comics look, because he did have something like that in the like original version of Casey. And then the bag is actually from the original Playmates toy. I got a loose one years ago because I made a custom NECA Casey Jones. And so this was left over from that. And once NECA made their own Casey Jones, I didn't need my custom anymore. Ultimately, this went to a better use here. So now before he had a plastic strap, so I made one out of that same kind of nylon material and made some hooks to hold it on, some little metal clasps in place, touched up the paint. This is a cricket bat that I actually made for that original Casey, as well as a baseball bat that's from one of the McFarlane baseball figures from way back in the day. And I got a hold of a bat from one of those and put some black electrical tape on it, and it's held up pretty well, so I just kind of left these in there. And then the goalie stick is actually from the NECA version, as well as the black Puma sneakers. Now the mask I actually handmade back when I made that custom Casey, so it's made from Abe's epoxy sculpt, and then it was kind of sloppy, it's handmade, so I went back in and refined it, sanded some edges down, used an X-Acto knife to kind of clean up the lines on it. So now it's much more uniform, and it actually looks pretty accurate to the movie version overall. It didn't need to be 100% because this is not supposed to be a movie version. This is my own take on it. So I'm pretty happy with it. Here's a look at the back of it, and you can see I use more of those ribbons to make the straps. So he can wear it, but you risk kind of rubbing the paint off of the face in certain spots when you use this, so I have him just kind of holding it. Next up, we have my custom 1/12 scale April O'Neil, and this one was a lot of fun. So the body is a Mezco Justice League movie Wonder Woman, and I had to swap the hands for some Fison hands that I had from another figure build. The jeans are from some eBay seller. They came with a jacket that I needed for another figure, and I had to paint them to put the kind of like aged, distressed look on them, so they just came like that solid blue color, and so I went in with some leather paint and gave them some highlights and, you know, dry brushed that stuff on there. The jacket is from a Mezco Captain Marvel, as well as the head, so that's a Carol Danvers head. And then I took out, so there's a piece of her hair that goes over her left collarbone and it plugs into the hair, so I actually pulled that out just to give it a lighter, breezier look. And then I added bangs to her by using my yarn technique, where I like actually make this sort of like quote unquote rooted hair look. And then I repainted the eyes blue, painted the face to give it more life, did the lips, you know, darkened her eyebrows a little bit, gave her hair a red sheen by adding, you know, various layers of watered down red washes to it. I took the jacket, which was initially brown, and I painted it yellow with Angelus leather paint, which is my go-to for painting any kind of fabric. There were some areas where she had patches on that I had to kind of like texture over by just using the brush and kind of dabbing texture on there so that it would match the rest of the leather grain. But yeah, the end result was that, you know, we got a nice leather jacket. I toned it down a bit too with some cream colored paint because it was like really bright and I wanted it to be a little bit aged. So you can see kind of on the seam lines and the edges where it's a little bit whiter looking, to kind of give the illusion that it's been like rubbed down, rubbed off a little bit. Oh, and her shoes are from a Mezco 112 Warriors figure. They were like kind of small feet, so it worked perfect for putting on her, and also the yellow matched really well, so I was pretty stoked about that. And then I also added a little rivet to her jeans so it looked like they had a button on them. Also, her camera is like one of the NECA TMNT animated props. I got that in a fodder lot and just kind of painted it a little bit to look a little bit more realistic. So here she is with Casey, and I really like the way these two look together. It's fun to just make like some believable human characters that aren't superheroes. You know, they don't have costumes on. They're kind of just wearing street clothes, but, you know, they have enough to them that's kind of layered to make them work. And then here they are with a couple of the Mezco 112 Collective Ninja Turtles with my custom heads on them. I've shown these a couple times on the channel. I am hoping to make these available to other people so that you can have just a nice head swap for your turtles to a nice, you know, more realistic, less kind of cartoony comic book based look to them. I'm really happy with how these turned out, and I think that paired with these figures, they just look incredible. So really stoked about this. Ideally, I would love to display all of them together. As of right now, I don't have anywhere to put my custom turtles that I built like more or less from scratch. So these are up top into like a fire escape portion of that diorama that I showed earlier. But I would love to have them all on the same shelf together, like on ground level. So that is a goal I have coming up. I'm also going to be working on a Splinter and a Rocksteady. So Bebop's been done for a while. I just need to find the time to kind of sculpt the head or find an existing one and print it and augment it for my needs, and then ultimately making the figure. But yeah, as far as like a custom Ninja Turtle setup that, you know, it's kind of a one of one, you don't see this anywhere else in the world, I'm really stoked about these. I just think that it's everything I ever wanted from Turtles figures. And, you know, it's nice to be making them as an adult the way that I wish they looked as a kid. I mean, I'm just really excited about this. Looking forward to making more. YouTube's been kind of wonky lately. They're not really putting our videos out in front of subscribers and new viewers. So please give this a like and share it with a friend who loves the Turtles and who loves figures, or both. That would really help the channel out a lot and help it so I can keep doing this, because if these views keep dropping the way YouTube's got it now, it's kind of like we're all sort of going, I don't know if this is really worth the time it takes to put into these. So I'm also a comic book artist by trade, as I mentioned earlier. So I'm going to have a quick little bumper at the end of this to show you some of the different books I have available and where you can find them. So if you'd stay tuned for that, I'd very, very much appreciate it. Until next time, thank you for watching, and keep your head on a swivel. So that is going to do it for this video. I want to thank you all so much for watching. I invite you to click the like button and hit subscribe and join me as I make cool stuff. Custom figures, dioramas, vehicles to go with the figures. I review new stuff that I get on the channel. If you're looking for other ways to support this, I've got t-shirts available. My Head on Swivel shirt, as well as several other action figure and comic book themed shirts, are available in my Redbubble shop. If you've never used Redbubble, it's pretty great. You pick the color shirt, the style, and the design you want, and they ship it right to you. Now, if you're not a t-shirt person, but you like comics, I've got several comics and graphic novels available, namely my books High Crimes, Count, and Retroactive. High Crimes is kind of Breaking Bad meets Cliffhanger. Retroactive is like James Bond meets Groundhog Day, and Count is my sci-fi reimagining of the Count of Monte Cristo. Think kind of a, John Wick meets Batman meets Zorro. It's a cool story with swashbuckling action and sword fights and vehicle chases, and it's about redemption, revenge, and revolution. So those are all available at your local comic shop, bookstore, or at the links in the description below. So to everyone who's picked up a shirt already or one of my books, thank you so much. It means the absolute world to me, and I really, really appreciate it. It really helps make it so that I can do this kind of stuff and bring you more videos. Couldn't ask for anything more, so thank you. So that's gonna do it for this one. Until next time, keep your head on swivel.